beat.
I don't know who, somebody need to hear this. Y'all don't speak Hebrew, that's Yiddish. How the fuck you try to label us anti-Semitic? We the Israelites, blacks, native Hispanics. The Germans getting locked up for the Holocaust. Meanwhile, black people still up in the Holocaust. 100 million of us died in the transatlantic. 6 million died, y'all want the world to never forget it. You can never be a Jew, you a Ashkenaz. This ain't a star dum-dum, a gun die or die. Yeah, Yeezy told the truth and got ostracized. Not one person in the Bible had on a yarmulke. We were slaves in America like we was in Egypt. Y'all don't even fit the curses in the Torah neither. Y'all was blind to the truth, I had to make it clear. How Jerusalem, your land, your people came from Europe. That was 1947, your menorah got 9 sticks, it's really only 7. Yeah, it's us against the world, Armageddon. This what happened when you inherit lies from your ancestors. Y'all the synagogue of Satan with them black hats. Your whole nation sitting ducks, Aflacs. Bunch of thieves and culture vultures, ain't nothing kosher. To tell the truth, you vagabonds don't have a culture. Macedonia, Alexander and Philip, you a convert, so tell me, how the fuck is you Israel? That don't make you the people just cause you live there. Why my people can't hate your people like y'all hate Hitler? All the prophets was black and was called nigga. Y'all don't even fit the description that's in the scriptures. Abraham, all the way down to Jacob, we the real Jews. Y'all don't study Christ, y'all follow the Talmud. Keep it real, yeah, let's keep it real. Cold hard truth, it give you chills. Say y'all Jewish cause y'all ain't really them. About to do them like Hammond, it's the Feast of Purim. UPK undefeated, this an easy win. We was born fighting, y'all the evil twin. Jacob took hold of his heel, then out came his little red bastard and they kosher deals. It's only 12 tribes, y'all trying to make it 13. Esau despised his birthright, the Lord cursed him. He ain't the devil, who is? I'm still searching. Ask your rabbi, why he get them babies herpes? I don't know what's worse, that or you claiming that you a Maccabee. I'm about to cancel, everybody try to cancel ye. I ain't afraid to speak, that's what I do. They riding to the core, I'm just judging them by their fruit. Cause they ain't suffering curses. If I was carnal, I promise I'd punch you in person. I know this an uncomfortable subject. They making millions off our culture and black people suffering from it. Yeah, they don't believe in Christ, they the Antichrist. Make a living off of niggas, they a parasite. I ain't afraid to tell the truth, niggas terrified. I'm about to go DEFCON 4, I ain't satisfied.
That is proof. That is absolute proof that they know we are the real Jews. That's absolute proof. Now, he got the records. Go find me a white Jew on any archaeology in Egypt anywhere. You will never find a piece of archaeology with white people as slaves in Egypt. So don't tell me that they were slaves and it's their identity, and they know it. The Lord knows the blasphemy of you so-called white people that say you are Jews and you are not Jews. You are not the people of the law. You are not God's chosen people. God's chosen people are living in the ghettos of America. God's chosen people are in poverty and depression in the streets of America. God's chosen people are walking around in America with no identity. That's where God's chosen people are.
This a Batman tune, I promise you. This shit lit, cuz. This shit lit, alright? Run that joint.
Niggas looking for the light. Me and my niggas prepared for the dog. Yeah. So we gon' get it on for the last days, nigga. You already know what it is. 140 for the rubber.
They in the building, we in the spot. We can go to war and see who make it out. Earn your stripes, dog, you with us or not. We can get it on when it's on, it don't never stop. First you get that power, gotta hold it down. Watch your step, boy, you on holy ground. They in the building, we in the spot. We can go to war and see who make it out. It's a problem, tell them pop ball. I die for, I let my colors fly ball. For a nigga take me, they a drop dead. AR, clean them up like a mop pig. J. Cool, he bad, he really so tough. They like, damn, look what he did to Billy go rough. Little bitch think she Kiki Palmer, silly hoe. She know I'm that bull, but I ain't from Philly though. I'm from the city where they say about that ribbon like petty pooch. Know them niggas plotting, gotta deal with me. Can't catch me slipping, got to steal with me. Just left Alabama, bought a chopper from some hillbilly move. He made my life feel the blade. Leave them all bruised, come through like a plague. Rebel off the leash like a dog out the cage. Call me Johnny Blaze, I'm Run West May. Watch your step get stretched like a limousine. So my brother bring that blade back wet, that's by any little nigga, this that cult need to talk. Niggas know I got blood in my cup, I just sip it like it's grenadine. They in the building, we in the spot. We can go to war, let's see who make it out. On your stripes, dog, you with us or not. We can get it on when it's on, it'll never stop. First you get that power, gotta hold it down. Watch your step, boy, you on holy ground. They in the building, we in the spot. We can go to war, let's see who make it out. Tell them niggas good night, here come the bitch. Look, told them niggas get right or get left. UPK, bad man, I pin to your flesh. Hellboy, rip the soul out of dead man. Shit at the rate, the power, I been a showstopper. Yeah, they might hate, but I know they gon' watch. Zone on lock, and you know the flow prop. Iced out, got the drip out of David Jones lock. Know I got the plan, they say that you the man. No shit, Sherlock, I'm the one you heard about. Burn down the building, let them all watch. Throw that one west up, then I swerve out. Sick with this shit, I do not need a detox. He don't watch a step, blow him out them Reeboks. We taking over, I'm sending the word out. Can't see me, little nigga, I put you in a bird box. Look, it's One West practical, gladiator, maximal. Creep on them slow, but that Glock fire rapid. All I want is more power, more straps to blow. Ain't got excuse for no car, he gon' have to go. They in the building, we in the spot. We can go to war, let's see who make it out. Earn your stripes, dog, you with us or not. We can get it all when it's on, it'll never stop. First you get that power, gotta hold it down. Watch your step, boy, you on holy ground. They in the building, we in the spot. We can go to war, let's see who make it out.
Okay.
There's a king that's coming back to save our people. Now, we should be preparing ourselves for the return of our king, not stuck up in these denominations and religions that's destroying our people and destroying our nation.
So when we are in this kingdom and a brother or a sister is doing wickedly in this kingdom, we must tell them, look, the world is expecting you to stay docile, to stay stupid.
That's what Christianity teaches our people. Teaches our people to hate one another and love the oppressor. Like, we'll never forgive one another for anything that another brother or sister do to us, but we'll forgive the oppressor in a heartbeat. There's something wrong with that, man.
Imagine living your life as a whole Christian your whole life, and life's good because you're a Christian and Jesus is white and everything's going great, and there's a landslide and the earth opens up and you go downstairs and you walk through this place and you see a black Jesus, man. Why is Jesus Christ black with an afro in the catacombs, man? This predates the Renaissance period.
So when you read the book of Genesis, the trees in the garden with other nations, a leaf, what does a leaf do to a tree? Cover the tree. So Adam took the covering of another nation. What's the covering of another nation? Their culture. So when the Most High saw him, say, yo, Adam, where are you, man? Where are you? Don't mean I can't find you. It means like who is this nigga? Like that. Where are you, man? I don't know you.
Okay. So the Ba al Banya Yasha'ala wa Amarath al Ham Mawa'idya Yahweh. The Ba means speak. Al, when it's joined with something, so al Banya means what? Unto, right? Excellent. So al, when it's joined with something, means unto. Banya means children. Yasha'ala is Israel. So unto the children of Israel.
Like, if it's one thing a hoe gonna do, a hoe gonna hold. But you ain't, she can't hold if there's nobody to hold with. And the thing she said at the end, where she said, I went back and I lied to him and he still wouldn't do it. And then she threw up her hands and she said, well, he'll just be a brother. That's what he need.
That's
brothers.
right.
If we have more brothers, hoes like her wouldn't have no outlet.
There was a man in the land of Oz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright.
There you go, the man called Job. I think Job is what that afflicted. And that man was perfect and upright, meaning what? You can be perfect, man. Job was a man like everybody else, man. Job wasn't no angel, he didn't come from the heavens, and that man was perfect, meaning what? You can be perfect in the Bible. Being perfect is in the Bible.
Had fringes on my coattail way before Jimmy. Funny how the general ain't even see a penny. Better show respect, get smoked like a chimney. Keep my name out your mouth, don't even think it. Send a real Smith at y'all, no Jada Pinkett. Both ball heads, my grain above 50. Off my man to the game, that pain that stuck with me. Had to find a cheat code to the street though, cause them niggas getting foul, shoot you like a free throw. Keep spitting acid like a Mino, and the nigga be the nicest with a mean flow.
Shalom, Israel. Shalom. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Barakatam to all the brothers. Yahweh Shema Alatan Bashim Yahushua to the sisters. We at I.S.U.P.K. started out 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, in the commanding General YAHANNA. And since 1969, we've been bringing so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans back to their true identity, their true historical and biblical identity, you know what I'm saying, according to our records, according to the Holy Bible, which is our historical record. You know what I'm saying? These oppressors have taken it and turned it into their religious book. But this is our historical record. This is the record of the chosen people of God. All right, the people you see, you know what I'm saying, day in and day out in the slums and the ghettos and the barrios and the council estates, you know what I'm saying, so on and so forth. Wherever you find us, we're in poverty. But we are destined to be the ruling class on the face of this earth. All right, and in the I.S.U.P.K, we are bringing our people back to our true culture. All right, now we have classes throughout the week in the UK, you know what I'm saying, Monday through Friday. Tonight is the Lashawan Qadash class, which is where I teach brothers and sisters how to read, write, and speak biblical Hebrew. All right, so just to start off, as I always like to do, I like to have brothers and sisters state their registry. So if you're watching online, make sure you put your registry in your chat. All right, not in your chat, in the chat. All right, I'm gonna start off with Kayala. Could you state your name and registry for me, Baba Kushar?
Kayala Bath Yahawada Ban Yasharala.
Mosai and Christ. So Kayala Bath Yahawada Ban Yasharala. All right, perfect. I also see I see a couple in the chat. Let me see here. Shalom, Yahweh Shemala Thaba Shem Yahushai. This is the Rabqua. She's put her registry. Rabqua Bathra Alban Ban Yasha'ala. All right, Most High in Christ, the daughter of Reuben. All right, we also got somebody here, Fiery Furnace. All right, Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahushai Barakatah. Most High in Christ. Who else we got up in here? We got this brother here, Yahweh Shem Yahushai Barakatah. Most High in Christ. All right, the brother say his registry. So Corey, Ban Yahawada, Ban Yasha'ala. Most High in Christ, the son of Judah. All right, who else we got up in here? All right, Shalom, we got Marisa. Shalom, sis. Yahweh Shema Allah Ta'ala Hashem Yahushai. You put your registry up in here as well. Marisa, Ban Yamyan, Ban Yasha'ala. Most High in Christ. That's perfect. All right, so without further ado, we're going to get into tonight's class. Tonight's class, we're going over verb tense rules. All right, so we're understanding how to say things in the past tense, present tense, and future tense. All right, before we get into that, Kayala, could I have you recite the Hebrew alphabet for me, Baba Kushar?
Kan, A, Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Ka, Ta, Ya, Ka, La, Ma, Na, Sa, I, Pa, Taza, Kwa, Ra, Sha, Tha.
Most High in Christ. Excellent job. All right, so as the sister just read, Hebrew alphabet, A, Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Ka, Ta, Ya, Ka, La, Ma, Na, Sa, I, Pa, Taza, Kwa, Ra, Sha, and Tha. All right, and you'll see these letters down here, which is like the modern Hebrew or the Assyrian Hebrew. You would pronounce these letters the same. All right, this is just to correlate which letter is which. All right, you pronounce these the same. These are Ka. All right, this is La. This is Sa. This is I. These are Taza. All right, so on and so forth. All right, cool. So, moving on, I want to get into the verb tense rules. So, we'll start with the past tense. All right, the first thing to do is learn the word for past.
All right, the Hebrew word for past is ibar. All right, so if you want to note that down, Hebrew word for past is ibar. All right, I think we went over this word a couple times. It means to pass over, to pass through, so on and so forth, and things that, you know, you've gone through, right? It's the Hebrew word for past. Okay, all right, so you want to note that down.
Salakia.
Go ahead.
Is that also the word or like the word for Hebrew?
Exactly. It's exactly like the word for Hebrew. The word for Hebrew is ibaria, right? You know, going into how the Hebrew language is an ancient language. Matter of fact, let me show you all over here. If I look up Hebrew right here, I want to see. I want the word for Hebrew. And I see this in the word search for Hebrew. All right, there we go. Because it's taking me to the book. All right, if you look over here, you see Hebrew ibaria, right? And it comes from that word ibar. Okay, it means Hebrew is one from beyond. Okay, and a descendant of Eba, right? So exactly right. Exactly right. All right, so let's go back over here. All right, so ibar is the word for past. Okay, and now what we're going to do is go through some examples and learn how to say different phrases, you know, using different subject pronouns, right? Or using different subjects and how you'd say this person did this, right? In the past tense. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is select a verb. Now, I've selected the verb lamad, but if you'd like to select another verb for this exercise, you can certainly do so. What I'll do very quickly is go to the verb sheet, and you can pick, like I've put together one of common verbs, right? So if you want to select a different verb from here, you know, by all means, choose your verb, and then we'll go through the different rules with your verb of choice. All right, so let me know once you have a verb, and we'll go from there. All right, also shalom to the young man, Omar Ban Yamyan Ban Yashal, Losan Christ, the son of Benjamin. All right, Yahabashim Yahshua Barakatah. Also, of course, if anybody is doing that on today, is working on obtaining your Hebrew name, make sure you fill in the attendance sign-in sheet. You'll find the link in the chat. Also, if anybody wants to attend these classes, attend the UK Lashawan Qadash class live, like you see Kayala and students coming in and out, make sure you contact us by email or by Facebook. Just let us know your name, your zone, and the name of your camp leader. All right. No sweat. All right, but that's a question, Slacky. I'm brand new to try to read and speak Hebrew. Is there a reference video where I could start that you recommend? I mean, really, at really any class, I try to make it kind of entry level. Of course, there's some classes where, okay, we use what we've learned in the previous classes and go over it. But if you have any questions or you're struggling with anything, just put it in the chat. All right. What I'd say to start is understanding if you want to first get the Hebrew alphabet, and in pronouncing any Hebrew words, that's what you said, right? You said to try and read and speak Hebrew. In pronouncing any word, each of these letters have an ah sound, right? You'll notice, for example, with these verbs, you have ahab, akal, amar, bawa'a, right? You have tazawa, you have shalak, right? Hebrew has an ah sound. The only variation from that is with the letter I, like you see here, ibad, ibar, but all the other letters have an ah sound, either ah or taza, right? Which is the other kind of variation. It's a double sound of that ah, right? Taza. Okay, so you want to go from there. I'd say if there's a Well, I'd have to search through all my classes to see which one I'd recommend. But really, you just jump in. Just jump in at any class. And if you have any questions or if there's anything that confuses you, by all means, ask those questions. All right, ask those questions. That's how you learn. Okay. All right. So, Kaila and anybody in the comments, do y'all have your verb? You know what I'm saying? Just select whichever verb you want. And of course, the first thing you want to do is write out that verb in Hebrew. All right. If you're not sure how to do so, let me know. All right. Let me know and I can put it together for you. All right. But Kaila, do you have your verb?
Khan, I was fine using lamad.
You're going to use lamad? All right. No sweat. All right. So the first thing you want to do is write out the word lamad, which, you know, if we're using the example of lamad, I have it right here, right? But you would have a la, a ma, and a da. And for the brother, you know, I didn't mention you're new to class. This right here is how you would join the Hebrew words. Now in modern Hebrew, you mainly, you know, there's no visible connectors, right? So what you would have to do is, for one, refer to a Lashawan Qadash teacher, but mainly you go into the root words. You find out what the root word is, and that would help you with learning how to pronounce a full word, or if it's ever put in a phrase. Like, for example, the phrases we're going to learn today. All right, so let's start with the word lamad. You want to write that down, and then we'll go through the rule for each subject pronoun. Subject pronoun is basically saying who is doing this. All right, who are we talking about? Okay, that's the subject. Okay, so also shalom to this is Ira, Yahabashmi Shabbat. All right, okay, no sweat. So the first thing we're going to learn is how to say I did something. Right, and the way you say I did something, it's the same whether you're a brother or a sister. Kaila, if you want to read this rule out for me, and this is what you do to the verb.
Add thaya at the end.
So you add thaya at the end. So you're adding two Hebrew letters. You add a tha and a ya. All right, and it's pronounced as thaya. So in our example, to say I learned, right, and also with the past tense verbs. Now, the subject pronoun, you don't necessarily actually have to say anya to say I did something, right? The thaya at the end is actually how you'd say I, right? I did this. That kind of specifies who we're talking about to begin with. Now, you can, of course, say anya, whatever, thaya, but you'd basically be saying I did X, right? So you don't necessarily need to say that, but you can say it if you want to emphasize the point, right? Especially if you want to emphasize that it was me and only me that did this, right? That's kind of when you'd use anya, right? But if you're just saying I learned, how would you say that, Kaila?
Lamad thaya.
Lamad thaya, exactly. So say I learned, you'd say lamad thaya, right? And with this anya I've put here, you wouldn't really need to say this, but if you'd want to emphasize it, you can. And it is you know, it's not grammatically incorrect to put anya here as well, but you'd be basically saying I learned, right? Or you'd almost, if you're translating that to English, it's like saying me, I learned this, right? I learned this, all right, so on and so forth. Okay, right. So what I want you to do is write out the phrase. So you just have to write lamad thaya. You don't have to write anya. All right, it'll be the understanding in the past tense, and this is the same for the future. The I is almost confirmed by what we add at the end. Okay, if that makes sense. So I want you to write I learned would be lamad thaya, and I want you to write that out in the Hebrew. All right, I want you to write that phrase. Okay. Of course, anybody watching online, whatever verb it is that you picked, you want to add thaya to the end. So say if you picked ibad, you'd be ibad thaya, which would be I served, right? Or what's another one? Quara'a, which would be like call, I called, or I read. That's another way to say that. All right, whatever verb you picked in the beginning, you add thaya to the end, and that's how you say I did this. Okay, if anyone needs a verb or wants me to go back to the verb so they can select it, by all means you can use layad, but the exercise, lamad, but the exercise works even better if you pick your own. All right, so you can go from there. All right, so also the brother put his registry, Ira ban ban yamyan ban yashala, Mosiah in Christ. All right, cool. So Kyla, let me know when you're ready to go on to the next one.
Khan, I'm ready.
Ready? All right, Mosiah in Christ. Okay, so the next is how you'd say you did something, right? You, in this case, you learned, right? So the rule is, if you want to read that out for us.
Add tha at the end.
You add tha to the end of the verb, right? So to say you learned, how would you say that?
Is it atha lamatha, or does this one also drop off the atha?
So the for the present tense, it is the same for all. You don't really need the subject pronoun, which is atha. You don't need atha to say you learned.
So just lamatha.
Just lamatha, right? So lamatha, and if you was to say atha lamatha, you're again emphasizing the point. You're saying you learned this, right? Like say, you're talking to a specific person and you're saying, they learned how to sew, but you learned how to fight. You know what I'm saying? So on and so forth, right? That would be to emphasize the point. But if you just say lamatha, that would be you learned. I would almost use, you typically only would use the subject pronoun here, where again you're emphasizing or it's not clear who you're talking about. Like say if you're writing a letter or talking to a group of people and it's not clear like who specifically you're talking about, or you're telling a story and it's like he did this, but you don't have a name or like a, it might have been multiple people you're talking about. So in that case, you'd kind of more use the subject pronoun, or you'd use a name to specify who did it. Okay, if that makes sense. If I'm not making, if I'm not making any sense, by all means, just let me know. All right, kind of lamata. That's perfect. All right. Okay, so again, you want to write that down and write it down in the Hebrew letters as well. All right, and let me know when you're ready to move on.
Khan.
All right, good to go. Okay, let's go through the next rule. So the next rule is how to say he did this, right? He did something. All right, the subject pronoun for he is hawa'a, but again, you wouldn't really need to say hawa'a to say he did something. But how would you say he learned?
Hawa'a lamad.
Hawa'a lamad, right? Now again, you can say lamad. Now in this case, this is more of an example, like as I said, if it's not clear who we're talking about, right, or what we're talking about, right, you would use like hawa'a lamad to say he learned. Or you could say, if you're specifying this person, right, if you're saying, I use my brother's name for example, Habaniga, he learned this. You could just say lamad Habaniga. That would be Habaniga learned, right? You wouldn't need to use hawa'a because we know who we're talking about. Okay, if that makes sense. But if you're just talking to somebody and you want to specify, if you would just say lamad something, then it's kind of unclear who we're talking about. So in that case, you use hawa'a lamad, he learned this. okay, or whatever your verb is. All right. No sign Christ. Hold on. All right. Shalom Yahabashmi Oshai Barakatah. No sign Christ. Okay. So let's get now how we would say she did something. All right. Go ahead, Kayala, take it away.
Add a ha at the end.
You add a ha to the end of the verb, right? And that's the letter ha, not necessarily, you know, saying ha, but you add the letter ha, right? That would be, if we go back to the alphabet, you adding this letter right here to the end. I just think Hebrew letters when I say add ha to the end. Okay, so how would you say she learned? And again, you don't necessarily, for this one, say the subject pronoun.
You said say the subject pronoun. Haya lamada or lam.
No, exactly. Haya'a lamada. Right? So you say, so, you know, in this case, again, it's not, you know, it may not always be, if there's no context as to who we're talking about, then you very well can just say Haya'a lamada. She learned. Okay, that's how you'd say that and use it in the context, right? If you're doing a if you're having a conversation and it's established already who you're talking about, you don't really need to say Haya'a. Okay, it's already built into the verb. The same with lamad. Lamad defaults to be he learned, right? Unless it's further specified by context you're talking about, or something or someone else. Okay. All right. So in this case, she learned, you could say lamada, or you could say haya'a lamada. Okay. And again, you want to write that down in the Hebrew and let me know when you're ready to move forward. Just keep an eye on the for this one, Corey, you would say haya'a, and when you add a ha to the end, it almost joins with the last letter. Exactly. So you would say lamada. All right, perfect. Okay. All right, so that's how you'd say she learned. Haya'a lamada, or you could just say lamada if it's established and understood who we're talking about. Okay. Also, shalom to the brother checking in from California. Yahabashim Yoshabrakatah. All right. Yeah, you'd connect the ha. You'd connect the ha to the last letter. All right. So Kayla, whenever you're ready, take it away with the next one.
For the subject pronoun we add nawa at the end.
Okay, so subject pronoun we, you add nawa at the end. Okay, so how would you say we learned? And again, with this, you don't have to say the subject pronoun because it's in the verb. It's the rule that you add. That is how you'd say we learned.
Lamad nawa.
Lamad nawa, exactly. So lamad nawa is how you'd say we learned. You'd only need to use specifically anak nawa where you're emphasizing the point, right? You're emphasizing we learned this, right? So they might have learned something else, but we learned this. Okay. All right. Also, shalom to the trooper checking in from Birmingham, Alabama. No sign Christ. How about Shem Yahusha? All right. So that's how you say we learned. Lamad nawa. Right. The same with, you can plug any other verb there. If you was to say he, what's another verb I can use? No, not he, but we walked, right? Walk would be halak, right? Or we went. It would also be halak. You'd say halak nawa. In that phrase, you're saying we walked or we went. Okay? No sign Christ. Lamad nawa. We learned. All right? Kayla, whenever you're ready, you can take it away with the next one.
Khan. For you or y'all in the masculine, you add thumb at the end.
So how would you say y'all learned?
Lamad thumb.
Lamad thumb, right? Lamad thumb is how you'd say y'all learned. Okay, so again, you don't need to say the subject pronoun. It's built into the verb lamad tham. Lamad tham means you all learn this in the masculine sense. So you'd use this in the masculine sense where you're talking about a group of brothers, or if there's a combined group of brothers and sisters, it defaults to the masculine. All right, so you'd use lamad tham to say you all learned in the masculine sense. You can plug in any other verb, and that's how you'd say you. It would translate it as you, but it's the plural. All right. The singular would be what? You'd say lamad tha. But when you say lamad tham, now we know we're talking about a group, right? A group of brothers or a group of combined brothers and sisters, which defaults to masculine. Okay. Again, if you used to say atham, lamad tham, you're emphasizing the point. You're saying you all, y'all learned this. Okay. Khan, so whenever you're ready, take it away with the next one.
For to say you or y'all, in the feminine, you add than at the end.
All right, so to say you or y'all in the feminine, all right, so this is now where you're specifically talking about multiple sisters, right? You're talking about a group of sisters only. There's no men involved. If you're saying y'all learned, say the brothers learned this, y'all learned that. So how would you say that?
Lamad than.
Lamad than. All right, lamad than. So like, let me I hit delete. All right, lamad than. And you don't have to say the than. You just use that if you emphasize it. All right. So note that down. And when you're ready to move forward, let me just check the comments real quick. Lamad tham. All right, that would be y'all learned in the masculine sense. All right, and then lamad than would be the feminine sense. All right. Also, kind of work on getting my Hebrew. Most High in Christ. Most High in Christ. All right. Let's take it one Lashawan Qadash class at a time. All right, you get there. Okay. And now let's get the next one whenever you're ready.
For they in the masculine, you add wa at the end.
All right, for they at the masculine, you add wa. Right, so how would you say they learned?
Lamadwa.
Lamadwa. All right, so lamadwa would be they learned. Again, you could add ham at the beginning if you're emphasizing, but you don't have to. You just say lamadwa. Oh, this one? Okay, here we go. All right, lamadwa, they learned. Okay, and then in the feminine, what would you do?
You would add. Oh, you also add wa at the end?
You also add wa at the end, right? So you decipher that by the context. If you're talking about a congregation or a group of men, then you understand that lamadwa is talking about, in the masculine sense. If you're talking about a group of sisters, you'd understand the lamadwa is in the feminine sense, right? But again, this is another example, kind of like he or she, where if it's not clear, then by all means, put ham or han. Right? Them, or them as in the men or the congregation did this. They, as in the sisters, the women, they did that. Right? So how would you say in the feminine sense? Oh, you already said, right? You had the you had the wa at the end. All right, so lamadwa, but if you want to specify or emphasize, you can put the ham or han. Okay. All right, no sign Christ, no sign Christ. All right, cool. So that is the past tense verbs. All right, that's past tense. Now, what I'm going to do now, let me see. Trying to think whether it would be best to go to present tense first and then go future tense, or go future tense first, because future tense follows similar rules to past tense, whereas present tense is a slight change. With present tense, you have to use the subject pronoun to specify who is doing it, all right, who you're talking about. Okay, so let's just do it in order. Let's do it in order. So we'll do present tense next. Okay. All right, now, present tense, the way you'd say present would be like, I got here the word to be is haya. So haya would be like be or being. That's how almost the word for present, right? This is what what's happening now. Okay. The verb example I've used here is shamar, which means to guard or to watch. But by all means, if y'all want to select a different verb, I'll go back to the verb list. Motherfucker, let me just copy from here, make another one over on the left. I started another thing. All right, let me use this. If y'all want to select a different verb from this list, I'll give some time to do so. Okay. Again, it definitely helps. It's a better learning tool if you select a different verb rather than just using the example, because it shows how you'd apply it with different verbs. You'll have more examples. Okay. So once you selected your verb, just let me know when we're ready to move forward. Ready to move forward?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so let's go to the present tense verbs. All right. So with the present tense verbs, what you typically do, the typical way to just make something present tense is you add wa in between the first and second letter, right? So shamar, in its simplest form, becomes shawamar. All right, shawamar would be guarding or watching, right? Or shamar is also the word for keep, so you could say keeping as well. All right, shawamar. Okay, so if you could read the rule for the subject I, which is anya, and this would be a brother saying it. So this is like, say for example, if I was to say, I am guarding. What is the rule and how would you say it?
Add wa between the first and second letter.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be anya shawamar.
Anya shawamar, exactly, right? Anya shawamar. Okay. Anya shawamar is how a brother would say, I am guarding, or I am watching, or I am keeping. Okay. Anya shawamar. All right. Now it's slightly different if a sister is saying it. All right. A sister would say something slightly different. Okay. So what's the rule of how a sister would say, I am doing something? I am, or have you, did you select a different verb?
Khan, I did okay. Amar.
Amar, right? And Amar means to say, right? So that would be, so how would a brother say, I am saying?
Anya awamar.
Anya awamar, exactly. All right, Anya awamar. Okay, now how would a sister say, I am saying?
Anya awamara.
Anya awamara, right? So if we read the rule for a sister saying, I am doing something, you add wa between the first and second letter and a ha at the end, right? So shamar, or it's like your amar, becomes anya awamara, right? Or if we're using shamar, it becomes anya shawamara, right? Just how a sister would say, I am watching, I am keeping, I am, you know, so on and so forth. This would be more to say watching if it's in a sister's case, because sisters ain't put on shamar duty. You feel me? So That's how a sister would say, I am watching. Okay. All right. Let's carry on. Right. So how would you say you are saying? Right. So maybe you're clarifying. The brother said that, and you're saying, okay, so you were saying so on and so forth.
Okay. When it says for the masculine on all of them, follow the same pattern as in the Y between the first and second letter, right?
Yes.
And then all the feminine is that pattern plus the ha.
Yes.
Okay. It's back and forth. For you in the masculine, it would be atha shawamar.
So atha shawamar, to say you are watching. How would you say you are saying?
Oh. Atha awamar.
Atha awamar. Right, so that would be you are saying, and that's the example I want you to use. All right, so do atha awamar. Okay, and write that out in Hebrew. All right, so anya shawamar. I am watching. I am guarding. No sign Christ. No sign Christ. No sign Christ. Yeah, I definitely want to do this class because it's certainly a good class to go over. All right, this is key in forming sentences and phrases and things you want to learn how to say in Hebrew. All right, this is something that is key to forming actual, sentences. So definitely good to know. No sign Christ. I'm glad you found it helpful. All right, so say you are saying anya awamar. Okay, if the person you're talking about is, of course, a brother, right? And then whenever you're ready, move on to the next one. Just read the rule, and go ahead.
To say for the subject pronoun you and the feminine, you add the Y between the first and second letter and ha at the end. So it would be atha awamara.
Awamara, exactly. So that's how you'd say you are saying if you're talking to a sister. Atha awamara, right? In my example, I would say atha shawamara, right? Exactly right. Okay. So atha awamara for your example, which is you are saying, talking to a woman. Okay. All right, so once you write that down, we can just let me know when you're ready. Okay, you're good to go. So this is how you'd say he or she is doing something. You can combine these together because it's really the same type of pattern. All right, and this is why there's not as much variation with the verb with these, and this is why it's specific that you use the subject pronoun with these ones, because this will specify. It doesn't really specify who is doing it in the verb itself. You use a subject pronoun to say who is doing it. Okay. All right. Whenever you're ready.
For the subject pronoun he, you it would be say the rule every time, or just say what it would be.
I mean, it follows the same pattern, so you can just go ahead and go right to the phrase.
It would be hawa'a awamar.
Hawa'a awamar, or for my example, hawa'a shawamar. Right. So he is saying, and in your example, he is saying. In my example, he is watching or guarding. Okay. And for the sister,
it would be haya'a awamara.
Haya'a awamara. Right. So that would be she is saying. Okay. In my example, haya'a shawamara, she is watching. Okay. Now, this is where we start to talk about multiple people, and this pretty much follows the same pattern, but you're just making it plural, right? You make it plural in the masculine sense, and you make it plural in the feminine sense. Okay. All right. So for the subject pronoun for we, right? We is anaknawa in Hebrew. Now, whether you're talking about a group of brothers or a group of sisters, it still defaults, the anaknawa still defaults to the masculine way of saying things. All right. So what's the rule for anaknawa?
Add yam at the end. For you add the y in between the first and second letter, and you add yam at the end.
Exactly.
So it would be anaknawa. What's mine?
Yours is amar.
Awamar yam.
Anaknawa awamariam. Right. That's how you'd say we are saying. All right. We are saying, or we say. Okay. Exactly right. In my example of we are watching, would be anaknawa shawamariam. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Now, whenever you've written that down in the Hebrew, by all means, move on to the next one. Let me check the comments also.
To say you or y'all in the masculine, you also add yam at the end. So it would be atham awamariam.
Exactly. Atham awamariam. Y'all are saying, or atham shawamariam, y'all are keeping or watching. Okay, go ahead.
For the feminine version, you would add wath at the end. So it would be athan awamar wath.
Exactly. Right. Athan awamar wath. So that would be your sisters saying, so on and so forth. Right. In my example, athan shawamar wath. Okay, so it becomes plural to match the context of who we're talking about, to match the subject pronoun. Okay, athan awamar wath for your example. Okay. Once you've written those two down, whenever you're ready, go ahead and rock it out. And I don't want you to feel rushed as well. By all means, make sure you've written it down before we move forward.
For they in the masculine, you add yam at the end. So it would be ham awamariam.
Exactly. Ham awamariam. So now, again, the distinction between these in the present tense is the subject pronoun. Okay. So ham awamariam is how we say they are saying. Ham shawamariam, they are watching. Okay.
And for they, in the feminine, you add wath at the end. So it would be han awamar wath.
So han awamar wath, for they are saying in the feminine sense, talking about group of sisters, or han shawamar wath is they are watching, talking about a group of sisters. Okay, perfect. So that is the present tense, and that's how you form present tense verbs, right? Just think of adding this wa is like adding ing in English, right? Like how you say jump, jumping. You have watch, shamar, watching, shawamar, right? Adding that wa is damn near the same thing as adding ing, which is why the fake Israelites say shalawam, right, is almost like adding that ing. Now theirs is between the second and third letter, but it's following a similar format, right? I think when you add it in between the second and third, it's like causative, like cause to make, right? So they'd be saying, when they say shalawam, they're saying caused to make peace, which doesn't make sense. Right, that wa is really just a vowel that the oppressor added, and in biblical Hebrew, there's no vowels. All right, there's no vowels. So a lot of times, this oppressor, and I can quickly even go over that. I did a whole class on the SHALAM thing and shalawam. Right, if I look at this biblical Hebrew worksheet right here, where's the page where it goes through the vowel points? Let me find this. All right, so this is the Hebrew alphabet. See here. Okay, the vowel points here. Okay, so it says more than one vowel may have the same sound. No, hold on. Here it is here. So The Hebrew alphabet is the oldest in the world, still in use today. Our own alphabet is a descendant of it by circuitous route. All right, let's zoom in a little bit. It says the text of the Hebrew Bible we use today reflects several periods of development, right? And that's when the Jewish man got his hands on it, right? It says originally only the consonants were used, and those are the letters, A, Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Ka, all the way through to Tha. Now, you would think even today that the likes of Ah or I were vowels, but those are consonants. The Ah sound that we say when we say Shalom, Barak, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, how we connect those words is by using an Ah sound or an I sound. But when the Jewish man got his hands on it, he couldn't understand that. He couldn't understand the language that used only consonants. So you can see here, it says Ya, Wa, and Ha were used to indicate certain vowels, right? It says Ha was used to indicate an Ah sound or an A sound. Ya was added to add an E or an I or an E, right? I think it would be more an E or an S sound. And Wa was added to add an O or an U sound, which is why the Jewish man says Shalom, right? That Wa he added to make it a different word. Like Hebrew, ancient Hebrew is very basic, but he couldn't understand it. So he added vowels like this O sound to now say this word is shalom as opposed to shalem or whatever other word he wants to create to cause confusion. All right. So the word for peace is shalom. If you was to say shalom, you're making the word present tense. You're saying like peacing or cause to make peace, right? But you're not saying peace. Peace is just simply shalom. All right. That's it for the detour. we back to verbs. All right. I hope that makes sense for everybody. You know what I'm saying, as to why we don't say shalom. All right. It's a misunderstanding of you know, of what the Jewish man changed and added. All right. We know that the wa letter, we'd pronounce it as wa, but really that letter wouldn't be in there. All right. I hear Qadash saying it's like hello, like how low. All right. It's like if you so do you mind elaborating on that? If you could let me know what you need elaborating on. All right, just let me know. Okay. If it was to do with like the causative, is that what you need me to elaborate? I hold so you can answer that. But if that's what you meant, causative is like basically like if I was to say this person, like not that they're, what's a word I could use, for example? Let's say the word halak, which means like go. You could say this person is going, or this person caused to go, you know, somewhere. Okay, hold on. Cap says the word shalom is like saying the word hello. Hello, you're referring to the word hello, like in English, like hello. Okay, I think, okay. If I'm understanding, it may be like maybe Captain Katazar was saying like adding that wa. I don't particularly know. I didn't see that class. It may be they saying that the wa is like saying the word and, right? So it could be almost like saying nah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So like, I don't want to say I'm not too sure what the brother was saying specifically with regards to that. But I know that shalom would be like making the word present tense, all right? Which doesn't really make sense, right? Like Hazahab would break it down like it's like you're saying peacing, right? Which don't make sense. Okay. All right, so let's get back to the let's get to future tense verbs, right? And first things first, the word for future is aythayad. All right, aythayad is how you'd say future. Okay, all right. Now, if we want to grab a verb for the example, so the example I've used is nathan, right, which means to give. It can also mean to put or to set, to a point, but in its simplest form, it means to give. Now, again, if you don't want to select your own verb, you know, just pick any one at random, you know, command, count, judge, hear, whatever verb you want to use, just go ahead and select one, and then we'll go from there. All right, let me know once you've chosen one, Kyla.
I think I'm gonna keep Nathan because the last time I kept writing Shamar.
Okay, no sweat. So we'll use that as the example. But of course, I mean, once we get these rules down, then by all means, you can plug that into any verb you want. Okay, so let's get here. So to say I will give, right? Whether it's masculine or feminine, it follows the same rules. So whether the person talking is a woman or a man or a woman, it's the same thing. All right. So take it away, Kyla. What's the rule, and then how would you say it?
You add for the subject I, you add ha at the beginning.
You add a at the beginning.
Oh, Slakia.
No sweat.
And you said for this one we don't need to say the subject pronoun?
Correct.
Okay. So it would be Anathan.
Anathan. Right? Anathan is how you'd say I will give or I am going to give. Right? Again, the same with the past tense verbs. If you was to say anya, Anathan, then you're saying I will give this. So you're emphasizing the point. Okay, but you don't have to say it. The a means I, right? It's actually a preposition, right? Which means I. So Anathan, you're saying I will give. Okay. All right. So if you want to write that down, and whenever you're ready, you can move on to the next one. Okay. Okay. I mean, you know, I never I must have never saw that episode. But I mean, if you want to send it to me, and I can kind of go over it and see if I understand what he was saying with the particulars. I know Captain Katazar and the past was a Lashawan Qadash teacher as well. So, you know, by all means, if you want to find that and send it to me, I can see if I can break down what he's saying. But since I haven't seen it, I'm not really sure what exactly was said or like how it was broken down. All right. But the young man, exactly, right? Anathan is I will give. And if you was to plug this into any other verb, you know, let's use tazawa, which is command. Atazawa is I command. Okay. Or, matter of fact, it's I will command, right? Or I am going to command. Okay, future tense, I should say. Okay. All right. And whenever you're ready, you can move on to the next verb.
For the subject pronoun you in the masculine, you add tha at the beginning. So it'd be thanathan.
Thanathan, right? Is how you'd say you will give. Now, also, I've seen a lot of times it's written as thathan, right? And that just goes to like how our language is poetic. But I would say to keep it simple, and so you can just use this rule and not be confused, You can by all means just say thanathan, and that's you will give, right? There's also another word or another subject pronoun that uses the same rule actually. So you would kind of differentiate by looking at the context, right? Or by all means, you could then use the subject pronoun to say you are doing, and the other one would be blank, you know, they are going to X, right? So on and so forth. Okay, so to say you will give or you are going to give, thanathan. Okay, and this would be if you're talking, you know, if you're talking to somebody directly, right? You are going to give this, so on and so forth. Okay. All right, so whenever you're ready, move on to the next one.
Okay. For you in the feminine, you add tha at the beginning and ya at the end. So it would be thanathanya.
Exactly, thanathanya. So now, if you're saying you are going to give, and you're talking to a woman, so say you're talking to a man in his rib, right? You are going to give whatever, thanathan. Wa thanathanya, you are going to give, the sister is going to give whatever, right? So thanathanya. And again, you can plug that into any verb. You add tha at the beginning and you add ya at the end. So you want to write that rule down and write down an example. Okay. And whenever you're ready, move on.
And for the subject pronoun he, you add ya at the beginning. So it would be Yanathan.
Yanathan, right? So to say he will give, you say Yanathan, right? Yanathan. Again, you'd only really use the subject pronoun where you're emphasizing, you know, you will give this, you will give this, he will give this, right? Or he will give this, if it's not clear who you're talking about. Okay. All right. And then whenever you're ready, once you've written the rule and the example, you can go ahead.
And for she, you add tha at the beginning.
Right. So this is the same one that follows the same format as you, right? You add tha at the beginning. So to say she will give, how do you say that? Using just the verb.
Thanathan.
Thanathan, right? So now, you know, if there's any confusion as to who you're talking about, you may want to specify either a specific person, like if I would say Kayala will give, I would say Thanathan Kayala, right? When you specify a name or something like that, it goes after the verb. But if you're using a subject pronoun, if I'm saying you do this, she will do this, then I'd say Haya'a Thanathan. Okay. All right. And whenever you're ready,
Salakia.
go ahead.
For the example you just gave, you said Thanathan and then the person's name?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you're saying a person's name like if you're saying a noun, the noun goes after the verb. If you're using a subject pronoun, he, she, they, we, that goes before the verb. Right? So a noun would be a specific person, maybe the priest, right? You could say, if I was to say Thanathan Hakahan, I'm saying the priest will give, right? Or if I'm saying a person's name, if I'm saying Ra'alban will give, Thanathan Ra'alban, that goes after. If I'm saying just he, she, I, we, they, it goes before. So Thanathan, right? Or really that would just be yeah, if I'm saying like you will give Thanathan. Okay. If that makes sense. All right, no sweat. So someone said why is N being used? I'm not sure what you mean by why is N being used? let me know. All right, hold on. Will the next be Thanathan Khan? Right, so the next will be Thanathan. Right, that would be for you. I believe at that stage it was that you will give. I think it was a few years ago. Ever since, no sweat. You know, by all means, but basically, like, I mean, in essence, don't be walking around here saying Shalom. That's the long and short of it. All right, that's the long and short of it. All right, let me see. Most High in Christ. Shalom to Atah. All right, Shalom to Atah also. All right. Let me get it because Most High in Christ. I'm right. All right, so we had Thanathania. Yep, that's you will give if you're talking to a woman. Hawa'ah, Yanathan, he will give. Yanathan, yep, okay. With this fa, then n added. All right, so fa, Nathan. So I'm just using that as an example. Like I believe when you see that in the Bible, a lot of times it's written as Thathan, right? But for the simplicity of just being able to use it for any verb, right? That's almost like Tathan would be, you know, like said in a poetic way. But you can by all means just say Thanathan, okay? And you can use that rule for any verb. Like if you were to say, you will watch, or I guess she will watch, they're the same phrase, Thashamar, right? You wouldn't need to say like Thamar, which is why I don't want to cause confusion by saying Thathan, if that makes sense. All right. All right, Most High in Christ. All right, so whenever you ready, Kayala, what we up to? The we, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, take it away.
For the subject pronoun we, you add na at the beginning, so it would be Nanathan.
Nanathan, right? So to say we will give, Nanathan, right? And that's another one which we've been using, where it's like let us do this or let us do that. You can just use na at the beginning of the verb, right? And that means we will do this or we are going to do that. And you can use it in the context of let us go, right? Na halak in that case. And the reason again I'm doing where you could just do na Nathan as opposed to, I'm not sure if there's a specific, because Nathan is a heavily used verb. It probably has plenty of variations, but there's simple rules that you'd follow consistently, which is why I'm doing the likes of Thanathan, Nanathan. I'm not sure if you see Nanathan used biblically, right? But you could use that in any other context, right? Na halak, na shamar, na amar. We are going to go, watch, say, so on and so forth. Okay, so these are just rules that consistently you can use to amend verbs to say what it is you're trying to say. Okay, all right. Whenever you're ready, take it away. And I hope that answered your question, brother. All right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For the subject pronoun you or y'all in the masculine, you add tha at the beginning and wa at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be a thumb, thanathanwa.
Mm-hmm. So tha and nathanwa, right?
Hmm?
So you wouldn't need to say the subject pronoun with these, right? You would just say the verb. Okay, so it would just be thanathanwa. Okay. Again, the past tense and the future tense, you don't need the subject pronouns. Okay, I've just basically found that out, right? I know usually I would use them, but you don't actually need them. I was looking into that where we was translating those phrases like let us do this and let us do that. You could just say na halak, right? I think previously I would write the subject pronoun, and that's not wrong, but it's not needed. right? If you're saying that, you're really emphasizing the point. You would say, like, say I was to say, anak nawa na halak. You're saying we will go. You're saying we twice, which is unnecessary. Okay. So to say y'all will give, thana thanwa. Okay. And whenever you're ready, you can move on to the next one.
Con. And for y'all in the feminine, you add tha at the beginning and na at the end.
Right.
So it would be thana than na.
Right. So tha nathanna. Right. Now, of course, it sounds a bit odd because this verb ends in a na. But if you was to, plug in any other verb, like if I was to use shamar, tha shamarna, right? Tha amarna, okay? You would pronounce it the same way. So tha nathanna, right? That's how you'd say it, okay? And then whenever you're ready.
For they in the masculine, you add ya at the beginning and wa at the end.
Okay, so to say they will give, how would you say it?
Ya nathanwa.
Ya nathanwa, right? Yeah, ya at the beginning and wa at the end, right? So ya nathanwa.
And for they in the feminine, you add tha at the beginning and na at the end.
Okay, so to say, so say they will give.
Thana thanna.
Thana thanna. Okay, so those are the rules. All right, tha nathanna. Or if you were to say, they will say, talking about women, tha amarna. Okay, so you can use these all these verb rules or the verb tense rules, past, present, and future, to form all manner of sentences, depending on who you're talking about. And just remember, with the future tense and the past tense, you don't need to say the subject pronoun. For the present tense, you do. All right, for the present tense, you have to say the subject pronoun, which is, again, subject pronoun is just I, you, he, she, me, not really me, I, we, they, so on and so forth. Okay, so once you've written that down, let's see where we at. 8:24. I think we right on time to jump into our vocabulary. All right, so let me know once you finish writing. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and reshare it, and we'll go through the vocab. While do that, let me load this phone up as well so I can still see the comments. And I think we're starting in Deuteronomy. I'm gonna be in Deuteronomy chapter 1. All right, we done got out of Numbers. We done made it out. All right, let's see. Let me jump in. Okay. And Kyle, just let me know when you're ready, all right?
Con.
Con,
I'm ready.
Most High in Christ. Most High in Christ. Brother say he picking it up too. Perfect. All right, excellent. Okay. All right, you ready to go? So let me stop sharing my screen real quick. Let's do. Why is this? Oh, hold on. All right, let me reshare. Oh, wrong button. Hold on. Let me reshare my screen. All right, boom. So we go down to the vocabulary, and we're starting in Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 9. All right, so this is where, if you have a separate notebook where you're just adding vocabulary, words you may not have noted down before, or so if I was noting these down, I would just flip to the back of my notebook and do the vocab that way. But however you want to do that, we start in Deuteronomy 1 and verse 9. So we start in right here. Okay, so we have here wa amar. All right, wa amar. So the first part we have is wa, just caps lock it, which is a preposition, which means what?
And or a continuation.
And or a continuation, right? It's a continuation of what's being said. Okay, now we have wa amar, right? And amar is it's what's known as the perfect tense, right? So like how we've just gone through, it would be like the past tense, right? So if I do so wa amar would be just a word for it means to say, and in the past tense it would be like said or spake, right? So in this phrase, he's not the person speaking is not specifically saying and I spoke. If they was to do that, what would it say? If I was to say and I spoke or and I said, how would you say that, Kyla?
Amarthaya.
Amarthaya, right? Or wa amarthaya. That would be and I said or and I spake, right? But in this case, it's just and said, I'll come unto you, right? So it's basically just kind of running on from the sentence. So it's already established who is speaking, right? Which is why it translates it here as and I spoke. Okay. Then we have al. So al, when joined with a noun, or how do I do this? I know I would do type of word is al. It's a preposition. Okay, so I'm gonna do it as also. Let me add the I changed the way I do this, where I put the type of word it is. So amar is a verb. Al in this context is a preposition, and it's when joined with a noun. Okay, when joined with a noun, al means unto. All right, unto or into. All right, basically like towards something, right? So in this case, it's said, towards, or unto, and then it uses kam, right? Which would be unto you all, right? Unto you here in the plural sense. Okay, so you can also put kam here as a suffix. Suffix is just, it goes at the end of a word. And kan means you / your. It's the plural masculine. Okay. Then we have ba'ith. Okay, so we have ba here as a preposition. Okay, and then we have the word ith. Oh, slack. I should go ba as a preposition means in, on, could be at, or with. I mean, this is typically how we I know it has some variety of how it's used. I think we would typically put in, on, with. You can also mean at, you know what I'm saying? So, any of those usages is fine. I would typically put the most popular, right? But those is fine. I think you can also mean like against. Let me just see how I did it last time, because I want to be just consistent with even just the way I write it down. How do I typically do this? Do we have by as a preposition? Not with this one. Preposition in, on, or with. All right, so let me just keep to that. All right, ba in its simplest form means in, on, or with. Okay. So the same way this translates it as at the time, you could say in the time, right? And it means the same thing, right? I said unto you in the time, so and so forth, carry on with the sentence, right? So you have ba as a preposition, then you have ith, all right, ith, which is a noun. Okay, it means time or season. Okay, if we go into the usage, time, especially an adverb with preposition, right? So like now or when, so like now is the time, or so on and so forth. But in its simplest form, it means time. Okay, and it probably means like say now would be like in this time, right? Or at this time, would how it would be defined as now. But in essence, it means time. Okay, it says here, it comes from the word origin "id," which means forever or until. Okay. All right, so ba'ith, at the time, hawa'ah. Okay. Let's see, what do we have here? Hawa'ah, this same who. Okay. So we have ha as a preposition. Which means, in simplest form, it means the. It can also mean that. So I might add that in there, right? We have ha means the or that. It could also be this as well. I wonder if it has. Nah, it ain't gonna have it. Does it? Nah, I don't want to get in the weeds like that. All right, then we have hawa'ah. All right, hawa'ah is a subject pronoun. All right, what does hawa'ah mean?
He.
It means he. What else can it mean?
Or it.
He or it, exactly. All right, hold on a second. Something's loading. Oh, I might need to change my connection. Let's see, this is still loading right here.
Well,
still moving on the screen. Yep. All right. Okay. Are we back? I'm gonna wave my hand. See if I see myself moving. Nah, it looks like it still might be frozen. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm not moving at all. Oh, hold on. I see myself moving on the screen. Let me wave my hand again. Okay. All right. It looks like I'm back now. All right, Kayla, can you see me moving? I'm moving in real time?
You just froze again. It's a little choppy.
Okay. All right, hold on. Select it, y'all. Give me 1 second. All right, it's like you just had to, you know, give a little technical difficulty screen. I think I'm back now though. Y'all put a 1 or 1 west or a can in the chat if y'all see me to Rob now. Salakia. Also, Shalom, Lord in Christ. Lord in Christ. It was frozen for a sec. Let me know if I'm back. It looked like I'm back on my screen.
Con.
Yeah, they try to say we're learning too much. They try to shut us down every time we get flown. We get flown a little too good. All right, but Most High in Christ. We back now. Most High in Christ, right? Most High in Christ. Shalom to Zakaria. Yahweh Shem Shabrak. All right, shalom, Mark. Okay, let me get my screen back shared. We'll carry on. Got a couple more minutes now. Y'all ain't free yet. Y'all ain't free to check out. Stay right where you at. So, all right. Let me see. Okay. All right. Hawa, as Kailah said, means he or it. All right. So let me get right here with it. He or it. Okay. Then we have la amar. All right, la amar. So we have la as a preposition, which means what?
2 or 4.
It means 2 or 4. Okay. Then we have amar again. Right. So la amar as a phrase, it transliterates to say. Right. And it'd be how you'd say saying. All right. So you can see it translated here as saying. Okay. Then we have, right, or even I'm looking at this ha that would be like the it, right? The it, and that's where you get the that translation, right? I spoke to you at, and this would be that time, right? At time, the it, right? At that time is how you'd translate that, right? And then to say or saying. Then we have la'ah. Okay, la'ah. What type of word is la'ah? Is it an adverb? It describes. It does. Describe typically a verb. Okay, la'ah is an adverb. What does it mean?
No or not.
No or not. It's the negative of whatever it is you're saying, right? So we have la'ah, then we have awakal, right? Awakal comes from the root word akal. What does akal mean?
To be able.
Okay. Oh, so this ain't even the slacky. This ain't the root word akal. This would be the root yakal, right? I think it's put as akal as per the future tense rules for I, being I will, so on and so forth, right? So the root here is actually yakal.
Salakia.
Mm-hmm.
Akal though, that's eat.
Akal is eat.
Okay.
All right, exactly. All right, I can note that down here, right? So you have the root word yakal, and this we see in these verb tense rules in action, right? So in this case, it uses a to say I will be able, right? So the future tense, okay? Right, so I will be able. It does it as awakal, but by all means, you can just simplify and do it as ayakal. I'm not sure if it's added this wa as like a vowel, or if it's let me see here. Yakal, you can see yakawal is a variation, but the root in the ancient Hebrew way to say it would be akal. And I mean it's like a yakal, right? That awakal, I think it might have just added that as like I'm seeing here yawakal, imperfect masculine singular, right? That would be the imperfect means it hasn't been done yet, right? So that would be like present tense, right? So really you would say, if you're saying I, simplest form, again, this is why I didn't want to confuse it too much. You would say ayakal, okay? Or la'a ayakal means I will not be able, okay? So yakal means to be able, right? To have the ability, right? If I go back into it, to be able, can, prevail, but in the simplest form, to be able, it's like saying can or could, okay? In its simplest form, see how it's mostly defined: able 41 times, could 41, cannot, meaning, you know, not able, alongside la'a, so on and so forth. To be able, to have power, prevail, and in the simplest form, I almost want to put to be able / have power. I'm gonna put even in brackets can and could, because that's like by extension. Can and could is having the ability. So I like that the have power. Okay. And then let me put akal, since I mistook the previous word. Akal is another verb meaning, as the sister said, to eat. All right, to eat or consume. Okay. All right. Hold on, the brother asked, Salakia, how do I get my blue letter to look as yours does? I hate analytia, but your screen looks more expounded. So this right here, so I use a combination of the blue letter. The blue letter is this right here. What I'm using right now is a service called Bible Hub. Okay, so if you look up Bible Hub, you can get this up right here. You want to, if I full screen it, you want to look along the top, and you have different, you know, things you can look at. Of course, you want to be in the KJV, and you want to hit interlinear. Matter of fact, am I in the KJV right now? I know sometimes it'll do it funny. All right, interlinear, and that'll bring you to where I'm at right now. You want to click for the chapter, and we in you know, scroll down to verse 9. I use this a lot when we doing like Sabbath service and things like that, because it's easier to just scroll and, you know, without having to click each verse to open up the Hebrew for it. Because on Bible Hub, you can only do it one verse at a time, right? So I use this for the Sabbath service verses. Okay, where we at? Verse 9, we right here with it. Okay, so labadia. All right, labadia. Let's get this word. Okay, we have bad. Okay. All right. So, okay. So bad is another noun. Okay, it means properly, it means a separation. So it could be alone, apart. All right, alone. Besides. Okay. So let me put, it's defined most as alone. I'm gonna put in brackets like a separation. Noun masculine separation. Or let me put alone / separation. You could do implication of part of the body, branch or tree. Okay, I think I'm cool with that, right? So in this phrase la badia, we have like two. We have a phrase that means alone, and then the ya at the end would be like my, right? So it's like two, or like to my separation, right? This ya at the end, if I'm understanding it correctly, the first person common singular. What's this first person common singular? sometimes this Bible Hub can be almost a little too detailed. I like let me go to this verse, Deuteronomy 1 verse 9 in the blue letter. Let me see what it shows here. So 1 verse 9. If I go to Labadia, right? Labadia. What's this part? The singular construct. Pronominal, first person. Pronominal, is that like me? What's pronominal? Hold on. Pronominal is a word that means preceding a noun. Right, okay, so that would be like my, right? So really it's to my separation, right? Which would be alone, to my separation, to my aloneness, okay? So, yeah, first person suffix is how you'd say my, okay. We have ya. This as a suffix means either me or my, okay? All right, so then let's go back here. Sha'ath, okay, I think the root here is sha'ah or nasha'ah, okay, nasha'ah. Let's get the root. So na, sha'ah is another verb meaning to lift. It's really, I think its simplest form is, yeah, to lift or to bear, meaning to carry. Lift, carry, or take. Carry 45 times, carrying. Take, which would be to carry. Lift 64, lifted. All right, so it's to lift. In simplest form, to lift or to carry. Okay. Then we have sha'ath. Okay, so it's like shorten that that verb. Okay. We have ath-kam. Okay, so now we have another word, this ath, which is typically joined with something. This is a direct object marker. Okay, you see here this dir object, it stands for direct object marker. What this word does, it tells you, it doesn't have a translation. So we'll put this whole thing in brackets. It just tells you what the verb applies to. Okay, tells you what the verb applies to. Right, so in this case, the verb is to lift or to bear. And what are we lifting or bearing? You. Right? Okay, so it's like I'm saying I am not able to by myself, or, you know, yeah, to my separation alone, lift you. Okay, or bear you. Right? And this kam, am I tripping? Yeah, this can here should be can. Can would be in the plural feminine sense. Salaki for that. All right, so kam would be you or your in the plural masculine. So I can't lift your. All right. Okay, or I can't bear your. Okay, then you have Yahweh, which is a noun and a name. This is the Most High's name. All right, so the Most High, the Lord, Yahweh. All right, that's how you say the Lord's name. Then you have Allah Hayakam. Okay, matter of fact, I need to get the root. All right, the root is what? Allahayim. Yeah, Allahayim is the root. say noun. The word Alahayim means God, gods, since it's a plural word, powers, rulers, right? So this could be talking about the angels. This could be referring to the Most High. It's referring to powers, okay? All right, so it's not always referring to the Most High God, but referring to powers, okay? Or like in this case, Yahweh, and then Alahayakam would be your power, right? Okay, then we have Harabah. I think the root here is Rabah, meaning to multiply. Yep. So we have the preposition ha. We have Rabah here as a verb. To, no, it's like I mean, verb to multiply or to increase. Okay, if I go to the to be or become much or many. Okay. To multiply, to increase, or to become. Become many. Okay. Multiplied Athkam, so he's multiplied you. YAHANNA kam. Okay. So the root here is hana, which means behold. We have wa as a preposition, so YAHANNA kam. So it's like behold you all. All right, hana, demonstrative particle. Okay. Okay, so it's like basically you're demonstrating something. You're saying, look, behold, look at this. Okay, so the type of word is a demonstrative particle. Okay, how would I mean, prolongation for han, what's this? A demonstrative adverb. Okay. Okay, let me search this phrase up because I'm trying to see. I would typically just put this as a verb, but if it's a particular, it's an inverbal word used to point out, identify, or draw attention to the relative distance or location of specific people. Okay, okay, okay. So it's not necessarily a, okay. Hebrew particles, the most common are hana, meaning behold or look, and han, which means the same thing. Okay, so I'm gonna just put it as it says, a demonstrative particle. Demon or demonstrative. I don't know how you pronounce that. I imagine demonstrative. I like that better. To demonstrate. Demonstrative particle. I don't know if that's too complex, but I don't know what else to put it as. All right, but it basically means behold or lo, right? It means like lo, behold, or you're saying like look, right? Look at this. Okay. Oh, I need to go back here, right? Right, behold, lo, see, most commonly is behold, right? Or where's lo? Lo about 16 times. All right, cool. Yeah, lo, behold. All of these would be like, it's not to look. To look would be either ra'ah, which means like to see. This is more like you're actually presenting something. You're telling somebody to look. All right, so I can see it less being a verb. That makes sense. Okay, let's go back. Behold, hayawam. Okay, so hayawam would be like saying this and then Yawam is day. Okay, this day, which so ha can mean like the, this, that. So in this context, I'd put it as like this day, right? Which defines is today. You have Yawam, which is another noun. It means day. Okay, so this day you have ka, kawakab. Okay, kawakabia. Okay, so ka as a preposition means what?
Like or as.
Like or as. Okay, and then kawakab. If I go to the I remember the class on like the signs of heaven, right? If I go here and look for star, I search for this word. Stars in Hebrew is kawakab. Okay. And as the plural, it would be kawakab or sometimes you see the plural as instead of adding yam, you can just see ya. Sometimes you can see here plural kawakabium. You can see here it's put as just kawakabia in Genesis, but it would be referring to the stars. Okay. So let me do, where are we at? Let me go back. Let's search kawakab. Oh, I'm tripping. I never read it yet. Okay, hold on. Nah. I've written that far too many times. Okay, let me just scroll back to where I was at. Hold on. Here we are. Okay. Kawakab. A star. And if you was to do kawakab yam or kawakab ya, it's the plural. All right, so stars. These are both nouns. Okay. And then as the stars, so kawakabia, ha shamayim, as the stars of the heaven, all right, or the heavens. All right, so shamayim, another noun. It means heavens or sky. Okay, the sky is aloft, air, astrologer, heavens. All right, heaven here 191 times, heavens 151, or sky. Okay. Then you have la rab. So this la here, la can mean 2 or 4. So it'd be like either given as the today you are as the stars of heavens for a multitude, right? Okay, so let me even get rab here. This rab is a noun, right? Or for abundance. Yeah, it'd be like, it'd be defined there as for a multitude. Rab, which is a noun, means abundance. Oh, so I just realized I'm a little bit over the time. So like I had to close out the class. Abundance or multitude. Okay. All right. So that's that. Let me give us a little, couple more seconds. If anybody's still writing down, but I had to close out and get out of here. So Captain Karate and Damgaba can start on the ends. All right. Select you. So whenever you're ready, Kyla, just let me know. Close
I'm
up.
ready.
You good to go?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm gonna close out with the salutes real quick. All right, Yemena Israel, I.M.A.D.I.M, which means to stand. I.M.A.D.I.M Shabbath, I.M.A.D.I.M, Barak, Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Barakatham, Yad Yamata. All right, sister stand, I.M.A.D.I.M. All right, Yemena Israel, I.M.A.D.I.M, I.M.A.D.I.M Shabbath, I.M.A.D.I.M, Barak, Yahweh Shema Alathan Bahasham Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shema Alathan Bahasham Yahweh Shai.
Yad Yamata. Class dismissed. All right, Most High in Christ. I hope y'all found that informative. You know what I'm saying? You know, definitely to wild class. And I'll see y'all next week. All right, shalom.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please, go to ISUPK.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West. They're one West. They're one West.